ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यम् Hari Om. Sri Krishna has made it very clear in the last chapter, in the last two chapters, 2 and 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, that Sankhya Yoga, that is Atma Jnanam, is the direct means to moksha. And a lifestyle of Karma Yoga, that is performance of one's duties, by being detached to the phalam, to the result, is the indirect means to moksha. Okay. Now, it is better to be active than to be lazy and inactive, even if one is attached to the phalam. Yeah. Then better than acting, being attached to the phalam is being detached from the phalam, being a karma yogi. But now in this chapter, which is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 4 of 42 verses, Krishna is going to unfold the rahasya, the secret of being intensely engaged in action, and yet how are the wise actionless? Yeah? How can one be without the I notion? So there is a kartritva tyaga. So can you see, appreciate that this chapter is one step ahead of karma yoga, because there is no doer also. There is a renunciation of karmas by knowledge. Jnanena karmanam sannyasaha. That is the topic, chapter 4. A very loaded chapter, important chapter with profound, oft quoted verses are found in this chapter of 42 verses. So we all know that by now nobody can escape karma. It is karma that wakes us up in the morning, is it not? Not the alarm clock. And karma keeps us busy the whole day with all the tasks to be done. We want to complete what was unfinished yesterday, and fresh karmas get added. And slowly as the day progresses, karma then slows down, continues even when we are dreaming, and finally karma drops when we are in deep sleep. Yeah. So karma is inevitable, but here Krishna is going to unfold how the wise are engaged in action and yet detached and very calm and unaffected by being the Sakshi Drik. by having the background of awareness of Ishvara at all the times. So that is in the gist of this chapter. But this chapter is also very special because only in this chapter, Krishna is going to unfold the secret of his own birth. That is the Krishna Avatara. Krishna is going to talk about his Avatara, Sri Krishna Avatara, in the beginning. So now let us see what are the main topics here. So there are a few major sections here. The main theme of this chapter 4, and the topic is Jnana Karma Sannyasa. What is the knowledge? Knowledge that I am the Atma and I am not the I connected with Anatma, body and mind. So this is the renunciation of the empirical I through the knowledge that I am the actionless Atma. So here we are going to see sections like in the initial portion, we're going to see Vamsha Kathanam, the glory of the Parampara and Ishvara's Avatara as Sri Krishna. Then the central portion is the essence of Upanishad, Jnana Karma Sannyasa. And finally, we have Jnana Sadhananis and Jnana Phalam. And what are the prerequisites to this knowledge? How to gain this knowledge? Also, a few important verses are there. So let us chant the first 3 verses. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manurikshvakave Bravit Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu Sakale Neha Mahata Yogo Nashtah Parantapa Sa evayam maya tedya yoga proktah puratanaha bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. So here Krishna is referring to Arjuna as a sakha. This is, you're my dear friend also, in addition to now being a shishya. And you know, Partha, this Uttamam Rahasyam, that is this Vaidika Dharma Gita Upadesha that you are receiving in the Kurukshetra battlefield is the same Upadesha, the Rahasyam that I taught to Vivasvan. Vivasvan is Surya Devata. So first verse talks about this Parampara. How Krishna says he taught Vivasvan. And then Vivasvan taught his son Manu. So we all know, there are these Manus, for a Manvantara. We are in the Vaivasvata Manvantara, the period of time governed by this Manu. So the Manu, receiving this knowledge, further taught it to the great king Ikshvaku. We all know Ikshvaku is the great king belonging to the Surya Vamsha, the same Vamsha in which Sri Rama was born. So that this is how Krishna describes the parampara, how the knowledge has been percolating down the Raja Rishis. So you see, Rajarshayaha Viduhu. Who are the Raja Rishis? Enlightened kings like Janaka, Ajatashatru, Sri Rama. And here Shankaracharya says that when the royal administration and duties go hand in hand with the Vedika knowledge, that is, if kings are empowered with spiritual knowledge, how excellent would be the governance and how dharma will be protected. So that is what was happening in those days when the kings were intensely engaged in administration, but at the same time, they had this knowledge, they were empowered by this knowledge. But what happened? Saha kalena mahata yogaha nashta parantapa. But with the passage of time, what happens? That knowledge got diluted. So the Vaidika dharma began to decline. Why? Kali Yuga or passage of time, people did not have time to practice corruption, materialism, consumerism. For so many reasons, Anushtanam has failed and impurities have crept into the minds of the practitioners. for all these reasons, that yoga, this Uttamam Rahasyam begins to decline. Then, Dirghena Kalena. Now, having said that, the fourth verse, Arjuna is now patiently listening. So Arjuna becomes now curious and he asks the question in the fourth verse, Arjuna Uvacha. Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha kathame tat vijaniyam kamadau proktavaniti. So Arjuna is curious and says, Krishna, you and I belong to the Dwapara Yuga. You were just born in present Devaki and Vasudeva and born in the Rohini Nakshatra. We are contemporaries. So how am I to understand? Katham etat vijaniyam, that you could have taught Surya Devata billions of years ago at the beginning of Srishti? A valid doubt, isn't it? If a college teacher, came up to us and said that, I taught your great-great-grandfather 2 centuries ago, we would have the same doubt. How is it possible this person in front of me could have taught my ancestor? Yeah? So this is the doubt Arjuna expresses. And Krishna clarifies the doubt in the 5th verse. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam veda parantapa. Arjuna, many births have passed for you as well as for me. Yeah, bahuni me vyatitani. But the only difference is, you, the jiva, have only partial knowledge. You only can have knowledge of this current birth. You do not know your past births or the future births to come. But I, when Krishna says I, is referring to Sarvajnaha Parameshwaraha, the Nirguna Parabrahma. Krishna says, I am aware of all the yugas in which I have chosen to manifest. So, you do not know them, whereas all the births in which I have manifested consciously and deliberately, I am aware of them. So, this is where the Avatara Vada starts, and which is unique to this chapter. And we all know the familiar shlokas, that why was this Avatara happened? And there are the familiar shlokas familiar to us from Vishnu Sahasranamam. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And so Krishna is explaining his own manifestation. Sambhavami yuge yuge, and says, Arjuna, in every yuga, I consciously choose to manifest. And we all know the various avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Rama, Krishna, and so on. Many more are to come also, avatars. So the word avatara means avatarati iti avataraha, the descent. But the descent of Bhagavan is a very conscious, deliberate descent, unlike a jiva's descent into the world. What is the difference? A jiva, like us, we are all born helplessly by the power of karma. So the birth itself is a set of prarabdha karma to be exhausted, and it is a phalam of the previous actions. So we do not really have a choice in which family to be born, which yuga to be born, and what sort of karmas I would like to exhaust. No choice. A packet is allocated, and this is what we have to do. But the Jiva Yatra is not only meant to exhaust the karma phalas, it is meant to gain moksha, because the human body is the moksha dwaram. It is hardwired for moksha, and gaining this knowledge brings an auspicious end to the Jiva Yatra of a Jiva. Now, what about Bhagavan? Bhagavan chooses to descend as an avatara in any yuga. Why? Because in response to the fervent prayers of devotees and bhaktas who are being tormented, and the avatar of Narasimha, it was just for a few hours. So the purpose of an avatara depends on the need of the yuga. So Narasimha avatara appeared, destroyed Hiranyakashipu, protected the devotee Prahlada, and it was withdrawn. So the body of an avatara, the appearance is like magic. It is called Mayikam Shariram. Directly by the power of Maya, Krishna says in the 6th verse, Sambhavami Aham Maya, Atma Maya, by the power of my own Maya, I can manifest in any form, in any yuga for the purpose of protecting my devotees, destroying the wicked, and upholding and restoring the dharma. So this is the role of an avatara. Whereas for the jiva, what kind of shariram is a jiva's? Our shariram is pancha bhautikam, elementals, that is derived from the pancha mahabhutas. And we have seen this in Tattvabodha, how the 3 gunas of the pancha mahabhutas all intelligently put together the various components of the physical and subtle body, and there is the jiva. But not so an avatara. An avatara appears directly by the power of Maya and will be withdrawn also when the job is accomplished. So that is the glory of this avatara. So Krishna is indirectly answering Arjuna's question that is how I could have taught in that avatara as Hiranyagarbha Brahma. The sun obtained this knowledge from me and passed on to the Raja Rishis. Now, in the verse number 9, a very, very important verse, Krishna explains the Rahasya. And he says, the one who knows, the secret of my birth and the secret of my divine leelas, for that person, there will be no more Punarjanma. In other words, there will be Videha Mukti and Jivan Mukti. Let us chant that verse. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mamiti sorjuna. So janma karma cha me divyam evam yaha veti tattvataha. So, hey Arjuna, the one who knows the secret of my divine birth, Janma, and Karma. So what is the Karma of Bhagavan? Leela. So, and what is the birth all about? What does that mean to understand the birth of Bhagavan? It means Bhagavan is Jataha Iva, and as though birth, not really a birth, due to the pressure of Karma. So Krishna is saying, I am really Ajaha Avyayam Atma, but I assume an appearance. So bodies appear and depart, but I ever remain essentially Nirguna Parabrahma. And the one who understands his nature also as essentially Ajaha Avyayam, which is the secret rahasya of Krishna's Janma and actions, will not have rebirth, will gain moksha. So, Tyaktva deham punarjanma na eti mam eti saha Arjuna. So, one will one will be free from the bondage of karma. So, basically, this verse number 9 is talking about what? Atma anatma viveka. Satyam mithya. Brahma satyam jagat mithya. The bodies and the minds, they come and depart. They are costumes, they are mithya. But who are we really? Ajaha Avyayam Atma. So Krishna is saying, if one understands through my avatara this point, then one also becomes free from this cycle of karma. And there ends the avatara vada. Now, the next important shloka I have picked up is the shloka number 13. Yeah, shloka number 13 is an important shloka where Krishna is talking about the Chatur Varnyam, the fourfold Varna Vyavastha. So let us chant that shloka. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्. So here Krishna is mentioning how at the beginning of Srishti the Lord created the 4 varnas. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. And what is so special about these 4 varnas? In the Vedic scheme of things, there was this Varna Vyavastha. That is, the whole humanity was divided into 4 categories. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. No? But not by Janma. Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, by Guna. Now, the Gunas, 3 Gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And in detail, we will see the role of each Guna in chapter 14. Yeah. But for now, it is enough to know that those people with a very sattvic, predominantly sattvic mindset, what is the karma suitable for them? Brahmana karma, the one who will meditate, who can be a role model, who will do Veda Adhyayanam and Adhyapanam, teach the Veda, share the knowledge, who are contented, peace-loving Brahmanas. Then when Rajas is predominant, then they can be the protectors, the Kshatriyas, upholding law and order. Then Vaishyas, further, a little more Tamas and Rajas being there, they are more suitable for trade and commerce and business administration, cash inflow. And finally, if there are people with a tamasic mindset, dominance of tamas, then it is better to give them physical labor. So physical activity is best suited for their mindset. Then Krishna says, Tasya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam. So, in the earlier chapter 3, Krishna has said that I perform the cosmic functions as Parabrahma. By the power of my Maya, Srishti Sthiti Laya goes on eternally. And even within the Srishti, I classified the humanity in a 4-fold way for collective harmony and prosperity. But at the same time, aham akartaram. I have no personal interest, no agenda. So I am free from kartritvam. And the very next shloka also, 14, Krishna says the same thing. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhirna sabathyate. I have no spruha. Spruha is longing for karma phalam. And none of these actions can touch me. I remain as the unaffected, in the center. So, these are the shlokas talking about, what is karma. Then Krishna also says one should know what is karma, proper actions, what is improper actions, and what is inaction, and what is actionlessness. So, karma is a very huge and subtle topic. And now we are going to enter into the next major topic, the Vamsha Kathanam, or the glory of the Paramparas over, Avatara Vadas over. One more thing, the Guru Parampara. See, today we have access to this knowledge because of the Guru Parampara. So just like the Ganga, this Jnanam has been flowing down since ages through the Rishis. Just like Ganga flows from the Jata of Sadashiva, Samarambham, and so we are receiving this knowledge today through the Guru Parampara. So whenever we attend these classes and pursue this Brahma Jnanam, we are plugged into that circuit. We are plugged into the vision and we connect to all the Rishis who have received and passed on this knowledge. That is the glory of Guru Parampara. And the Avatara also we are done. Now we come to the main topic of this chapter 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa topic. That is Jnanena Karmanam Sannyasaha. How to renounce karma by knowledge. Karma is not renounced, but the kartritvam is renounced, the doership. So for that, there is a very, very famous, important shloka number 18. And this shloka, would be the one of the enigmatic shlokas. Remember the story where Ganesha was asked by Vyasacharya to understand every verse before writing it down. So this would be one such verse where even Lord Ganesha would be puzzled for a few seconds. So let's analyze this verse. Karmanya karma yah pashyet akarmani cha karma yaha sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta kritsna karma krit. So here Krishna says, Karmani akarma yaha pashyet akarmani cha karma yaha saha buddhiman manusheshu saha yuktaha saha kritsna karma krit. So the second line is talking about this wise jnani. So the jnani, who is a jnana karma sannyasi jnani, same as the Sita Prajnaha of chapter 2, or an enlightened Raja Rishi like King Janaka. So here Krishna says, the wise perceive inaction in action and action in inaction. Okay? So the first quarter, yaha karmani akarmaha yaha pashyet. No. Now we will think, how can one be active and be inactive at the same time? How can action and inaction coexist? But here it is said that the wise see inaction in every action. Like, for example, now talking is an action. For you, listening is an action. Some people are writing notes. Yeah. And some people are dreaming. Hopefully not. All these are actions. Sleeping is an action. Relaxing is an action. Sitting, standing, moving about, drinking tea, wandering, planning. Everything are actions. So how do the wise see inaction in action? So the explanation given is by the acharyas is, the jnanis know where do the actions happen. All the actions take place because of the interaction of the gunas in the bodies. The body is active, the mind is active, the senses are active, collecting data. But who am I really? And this is where we can connect beautifully to the Kena Upanishad mantra, where the Guru says, you are shrotrasya shrotram, manasaha hi manaha, vachaha hi vachaha, chakshushaha chakshuhu. The eyes see, the vocal cords are speaking right now, the hands are moving, gestures are happening, but you are the eye of the eye, ear of the ear, voice of the voice, prana of the prana, mind of the mind, and so on. So the jnanis are aware of the sakshi drik, that they are really the witnessing aspect and witnessing the actions happening in the anatma bodies. Yeah? So you see, that is how inaction and action can happen at the same time. Yeah? And we can all practice this also as we are cooking, as we're washing dishes, as we're walking. We can be aware the body is taking me places, the hands are moving, but I am the presence behind all these actions. Yeah. So even as we are performing actions, I am the actionless sakshi. Okay. So it is a as though karma. So for the jnanis, even though actions are happening, they are like a dream, because they have discovered and awakened that to the fact that they are super wakers. They are awake. Just like how dreams for us, are negated. So the dream-like actions of life are not given too much importance by the jnani. Actions continue, but I remain as the witness. So this is the first quarter. Karmani akarma darshanam. Now let's take the second quarter. Akarmani cha karmayaha. Reverse it. If a person is inactive, not doing anything, non-performance of action is there, how can the wise see action in those non-performance of actions? So let us take the familiar example of Arjuna. Now Arjuna, his Ratham was brought in front of Bhishma and Drona. Then what happened? He froze. Yeah, he just stopped in his tracks and his mind got clouded and he froze. That is called akarma. Yeah? So akarma, because he did not proceed to do his kshatriya dharma. Now, the wise see karma in akarma because why did Arjuna stop? Because there is a hesitant, clouded, confused I. The Arjuna I, the ahankara is very active. So when Arjuna says, Nayotsye Govinda Tushnim Babhuva, he became quiet and said, I will not fight. So not fighting is also an action. So that is the karma in akarma. So even when we are simply sitting, is not the mind projecting? What will I cook for dinner? What is going to happen tomorrow? The mind is active. There are actions. Physically, we may be meditating or sleeping or dreaming, but actions continue. This is called karma in akarma. So referring to the ahankara. But for the jnanis, this ahankara has become Ishwarized. The ahankara is a badhita ahankara. And so the jnani has Ishwarized everything and his I has expanded to include the whole creation. And so for the jnani, there is no kartritvam, there is no bhoktritvam. Whereas remember, Krishna keeps telling Arjuna, even if you do not fight, that is an action and that will incur pratyavaya papa. You think by not fighting, you will not get the result? No, there will be a result. Yeah. And that will be not a very happy outcome for you, Arjuna. So perform your Kshatriya Dharma as an offering, as a yajna, as a karma yoga. So now, this wonderful shloka 18 says, Saha, the one who has understood this inaction in action and action in inaction is truly wise, buddhiman. He's a yuktaha and a kritsna karma krit. Kritsna means total. Karma krit. So such a wise, enlightened person, nothing remains to be done. Everything is accomplished. There is no pressure. There is no demand. I have to do this. Yeah, I did not do that. Neither guilts, nor regrets, nor any demanding karma needs to be done. Kritsna karma krit. Okay. And because he has understood the nature is I am Shuddha Chaitanyam. Shuddha Chaitanyam, pure consciousness. Yeah, so we completed the verse number 18. Now, a few more verses here form the central portion of this important chapter 4 up to 24. Let's see a couple more of these shlokas about the wise people. Now, the next one, let's look at shloka number 20. त्यक्त्वा कर्मफला संगम नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः त्यक्त्वा कर्मफल asangam. So phala asakti. So now this jnani has of course given up the karma phalam and he is a nitya triptaha nirashrayah. Then karmani abhipravrittaha api naiva kinchit karoti saha. So even though engaged in action, naiva kinchit karoti saha, says I am not the doer. Then if the question is asked, who is acting? Then we saw one shloka in the previous chapter 3, gunaha guneshu vartante. So the eyes and the nose, all the organs of knowledge are contacting the sense objects. So the bodies and the minds are under the influence of the gunas and activity goes on. But who am I? I am really Nirguna Para Brahma Tattvam, Nitya Vastu Atma, which is Ajaha Avyayam Akarta Abhokta. So that is what the shloka talks about, 20th. Then finally, we have this very, very important shloka, which everybody knows, and which is the Bhojana Mantra, and which we chant before meals. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhinam. Now this describes the vision of the Jnani. So in the Jnani's vision, there is only the one, the vision of oneness. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. And this shloka is based on the Yajna model. So in the Vedic times, what did we have? We have a Homakunda and a Yajamana will be offering some oblations, cooked rice or ghee mostly. And then there'll be a Sankalpa and there is a goal. But what does the shloka says? That the Yajamana is Brahma and the goal is Brahma and whatever is offered is Brahma and the goal to be reached is also Brahma. Everything is Brahma. That is the shloka here, the vision of the oneness. That is, this describes the Sarvatma Bhavana of the wise person. Now, why do we chant it before eating? Because even what we are eating, we are offering to the digestive fire, Jatharagnihi in the stomach. So that is a puja. And so with the prayer that is called prayerful eating. So this describes the vision of the wise. So that is a normal person. A normal person will have what? Normal worldly drishti will be. So many differences are there, multiplicity is there, diversity is there. How can all of them be Brahma? They're all different Nama Rupas. So in Sanskritam Vyakaranam, we have this Karakas. Karta, Karma, Karana, Sampradhanam, Apadana, Adhikaranam. Yeah, all of them are different, but not for the wise person. For the enlightened Jnani, all the Karakas are Ishvaraized. Karta is Brahma, Karma is Brahma, Karana, Apadanam, Sampradhanam, Adhikaranam. That is the Homakunda, where the Homa is happening is Brahma. What is being offered is Brahma. Sankalpa is Brahma. One is performing actions is Brahma. So that is the Sukshma Drishti, Sarvatma Bhavana that this Jnani enjoys. Very, very famous mantra, number 24 of the chapter 4. Now, after this, now Krishna is going to take up a variety of yajnas. Now, the concept of yajna we already saw in chapter 3. What is a yajna? Yajna is any spiritual practice that is offered to the divine Ishvara in the cosmic setup. So all of us, we have varied spiritual practices. No? Some do puja, some do dhanam, some are doing pranayama, asanas, some are doing swadhyaya, some are doing social seva. All of them will come under the topic yajna. So now, from the verse 25th onwards, up to 31, up to 30, Krishna is going to enumerate 12 yajnas, 12 spiritual practices. And let us take a look at the list of the yajnas. And then ultimately, Krishna will talk about how these yajnas are very important. Yeah, they're all important. And let us continue to that. So, from the shloka 25th, Krishna is describing 12 yajnas. No? So, here we have the Atmanivedana yajnaha, Daiva yajnaha, Vishaya Bhoga yajnaha. Atmanivedana yajna is the yajna where one is offering oneself. That is, if I'm pursuing Brahma Vidya, what am I offering into the fire? My ignorance. Yeah. So the one who sees oneself as not different from Brahma is called Atmanivedana Yajna. Then Daiva Yajna, all of us do this every day. This is called our Nitya Pujas. Then Vishya Bhoga Yajna, Yatyat Karomi Tattat Akhilam Shambho Tavaradhanam. Whatever I enjoy, that is offered unto the divine. So Indriya Nigraha, that is the Damaha. Then Atma Sanyama Yajnaha, that is Shamaha, mastery of the mind. Dravya Yajnaha is Dhanam, any form of Dhanam, sharing resources. Tapo Yajnaha is austere way of life, austerities. Yoga Yajnaha is the one who follows the Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga. Swadhyaya Yajnaha is one who does Parayanam, study of the scriptures regularly. Jnana Yajnaha is what we are doing now. Yeah. Looking at the meaning of the shlokas, not just recitation. Pranayama is, of course, pranayama, very healthy practice. Then ahara niyamaha. Ahara niyama is very, very important today. That is called the mastery over the eating. So you see these 12 yajnas, all of them are yajnas because there is an offering. In chapter 18, Krishna said, Yajna Dana Tapah Karma Pavanani Manishinam. So what is the purpose? Why do we do all this? For purification. Purification of the Panchakoshas, of the bodies. So all of us do not do all these yajnas. Some are attracted to yoga, some are attracted to dhanam and pujas, others are attracted to swadhyaya and parayanam. And like the Ambanis, the rich people, what yajna would they do? They will do dravya yajna. They have so much money and resources, so they happily spend it in donating. Yeah. But a poor brahmachari cannot do dravya yajna. He will do swadhyaya and pranayama, ashtanga yoga yajna. So it doesn't matter what yajna we do. Ultimately, it is meant for purification of the mind, to give chitta shuddhi. So all these yajnas, Krishna is saying, are supportive auxiliary karmas meant for the purification of the mind. Yatha Shakti. This is just like, the various ways by which one can have darshanam in a temple. Now you take Tirumala, Venkateshwara, there are various ways. We can go by car, by the bus, or by steps, or by the road. Yeah. But then everybody gathers and there is only one final door through which one has to get the Atma Darshanam. So Krishna is going to say all these yajnas are instrumental in bringing us to the Jnana Yajnaha. And Brahma Yajnaha or Jnana Yajnaha is the best yajna, is a supreme yajna. Why? Because all the other yajnas like Ganga Snanam, if I go for Ganga Snanam once in Rishikesh, is it enough to purify the mind? We have to go again and again. Again, the mind will gather malam. But Brahma Yajna or Atma Vidya will remove the Moola Karanam. That is avidya. So once that ignorance, self-ignorance is, eliminated by Brahma Yajna, then there is no more moha, no more confusion. And that is why it is rated the top. It is the best yajna, Brahma Yajna, but we have to still continue with the other yajnas. Why? Also because they will give me punyam. If I donate, if I do tapas, if I study the scriptures, if I serve my gurus and acharyas, I will get the punyam. And the punyam is going to manifest as favorable situations, guru prapti, opportunities for shravanam, mananam, nididhyasnam, and bring me to the jnana dwaram. And then that is the door to liberation or moksha. So that is a superior yajna, is this Brahma Yajna. And all the other yajnas, they all get fulfilled in bringing us to the Parama Yajna of Brahma Tattva. And that is told in the next shloka here. Shreyan Dravyamaya Yajna Jnana Yajna Parantapa. Sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. This is what it means. Jnane parisamapyate. So they all bring one to the door of Jnanam. So we must have collected so much punyam, to be connected to a Guru Parampara and to be studying the Bhagavad Gita in Kali Yuga. This already shows punyam is there in our account. But we must continue wherever possible to keep that punya going, to complete the Jiva Yatra auspiciously. Now, that central topic is now over. Now, let's go to the next topic, and that is the Jnana Phalam. What is the benefit of this knowledge if it is asked? Then we will look at the shlokas number 35, 36 onwards. Yatnyatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshena drakshasyaatmanyatho magim. So, yatnyatva, on gaining this knowledge, what will happen? Na punaha moham. There will be no more moha, delusion, confusion. So Arjuna is going to say that. But in chapter 18, Nashtaha mohaha smritihi labdva karishye vachanam tava. So the moha will be gone. So when there is that crystal clear knowledge of the actionless akarta atma and the ever active anatma components, then there is, we know, the viveka between drik and drishya, and there is no more moha. Then I will happily be engaged in actions without fearing the outcome, without being attached to the karma phalam, because I'm not even the doer. Yeah, that is why we often say, naham karta, harihi karta. Naham karta, harihi karta means I am not the karta. Hari is the karta. No? Bhagavan, the devotees will say this. Bhagavan is making us do things. And we are just instruments in his hands. Then 36. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvam jnanaplaveneva vrajinam santarishyasi. So even if the worst offender, papakrittamaha also can be saved, can cross this samudra, bhavasagara, with the boat of knowledge. Jnana plava. Plava is the boat. So by approaching a guru and through Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam, even the worst offender, his life will change. Now remember the story of Ratnakara, the bandit, the chance encounter with Narada changed his life, and then he became the Valmiki, Adi Kavi. Or Angulimala met Buddha, and then that chance encounter, that satsanga of just a few minutes, made him a shishya of the enlightened one. So that is meant here, Vrajinam Santarishyasi. But how does one cross over the papa is talked in the next shloka, 37. Yathe dhamse samithoknihi bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. The fire of knowledge, not only does it purify one's papa account, but also burns the seed of karma. Bhasmasat kurute. Supposing we roast the seeds like pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, can they germinate again? No. Then what good are they? They are good for eating. They'll be very crispy and crunchy. So I will enjoy eating. So the one who has gained Atma Jnanam has burnt the karma bearing potential of the karma seeds. That is, the seeds of karma cannot germinate into future actions, and such a one has jumped out of the cycle of karma. But note here, Jnanagnihi, the fire of knowledge, burns all the karmas, even the punya karmas, not only papa karmas. Now, papa karmas, we know, brings dukkham. But why should we not have punya karmas? Punya karmas is going to bless me, with favorable situation. But the Jnani says, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. So if I want the total freedom, I want freedom from both. Because papa is immediate dukkham, but punyam is future dukkham. How is punyam future dukham, potential dukham? Because punya will not come alone. Punya will necessitate a janma, and janma will always be mishritam. Papa punyam mishritam. So if I want the peace that passeth all understanding, that is beyond both papa and punya. But yet I still need the punyam to bring me to a point where I can go beyond both and enjoy that samatvam of vision and samatvam of the response in the mind. So then, that all this is the jnana phala. Now, the last section from 39 onwards is what should one do to gain this knowledge? So for that, we will go back to shloka number 34, very important shloka and oft quoted. Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadarshinaha. So tatvidhi. Understand, Arjuna, how can you gain this knowledge? Yeah. So there are three activities here. One is pranipatena, approaching with humility and shraddha, approaching the wise, the gurus and the acharyas, humbly. And then pariprashnam, interactive. One ask with genuine curiosity about this knowledge. Pariprashnam should be there. And then what else? Sevaya. Sevaya is may one serve the guru. Now in olden times, the Shishyas and Gurus all lived together in a Gurukulam. So they could do a lot of seva, they could cook for their Guru, they could massage his legs and go shopping or cut firewood. So many things are possible. But Puja Swamiji will say, in the modern cities, what would be the Guru Seva? The Guru Seva would be, first of all, attending classes, doing systematic, consistent Shravana. So whatever the Guru is, the activities of the Guru Parampara, aim for Seva activities, or if the Guru is organizing camps, Vedanta camps, any camp, and classes are there, let us take part and help organizing and attend those camps and classes and activities. So that way we are plugged into the vision of the Guru. And that would be the Seva today. And many students, do wonderful Seva even in an online way, that is wonderful. So all this Seva is really done for my sake. So even for us teachers, this is Seva. So we are giving back in gratitude to the Gurus from whom we have received this knowledge. So that is also a Seva. And then what will they do? Upadekshanti te jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. So the wise jnanis will be happy to share that knowledge if we approach them with an attitude of humility, seva, and genuine curiosity. Okay. Then let's come to 39th shloka, another very important shloka. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatpara samyatendriyaha jnanam labdha param shantim achirenadi gacchati. Shraddha. Now, we all know how important Shraddha is. Yeah? Shraddha means astikya buddhi. So, Shraddha is, do I give the Shastra, the Guru, the benefit of doubt? Do I have an open, trusting mind? Or am I rejecting the Shastras and the Guru after a few sessions? Just because I do not understand. So, if I do not understand the Tattva, maybe I should stop and think that I need more time. Yeah. So may one not reject the Shastras and the Guru, but have Shraddha. And the one who is not even academically qualified, if one has Shraddha, it will open the doors of the mind and the Shastra will take deep root. Definitely. So that is why Gita says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The param jnanam will be achieved and attained by one who has Shraddha. But for that, one has to be a tatparaha. Tatparaha means commitment should be there. Regular, systematic, consistent listening and also engaging in mananam. So even outside of the Zoom classes, let me maintain a healthy curiosity, jijnasa, and reflect over the verses that have been covered. And achirena adhikachati, not after not a long time, that is soon even the person will gain the param shanti. Then 40 and 41, Krishna talks about the samshayatma, the doubting Thomas. So the one who keeps doubting, of what good is studying the scriptures? No, will I gain the Atma? The one who doubts the efficacy of Karma Yoga, Shraddha, Jnana Yoga will never be happy either in this loka or any loka hereafter. Na ayam loka asti na paraha, na sukham samshayatmanaha. But 41 says, Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam Jnana Samchinna Samshayam. Atmavantam na karmani nibatnanti dhanan jaya. So, Shraddha is very, very important. So finally in 42, what does Krishna say? Tasmad ajnana sambhutam kritstham jnanasinatmanaha chitvainam samshayam yogam atishto bharata. Hey Bharata, tasmad, therefore, see how Krishna comes back to the point again and again. He says, Arjuna, with the sword of knowledge, jnana asi, you cut all these doubts and the despair, the hesitation, the moha in the mind, and yoga matishta, take to yoga. You embrace now this kshatriya dharma and uttishta, get up and fight the battle. So, in the Ramayana, the Suprabhatam, remember how Vishwamitra wakes up the young teenage Rama? Uttishta, Uttishta, Govinda, Uttishta, Garudatvaja, Uttishta, Kamala, Kanta, Trailokyam, Mangalam, Kuru. Vishwamitra tells, O Rama, dawn has happened, sun is rising, do Mangalam. The Trilokas are waiting for you to get up. Uttishta. So similarly, Krishna is awakening Arjuna from the avidya nidra, from the slumber of ignorance, and asking him to get up and do what is to be done for the collective harmony and upholding dharma in the world. So this, in short, was a summary of the 4th chapter, and where we saw, this is by knowledge. Renunciation of karmas by knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Shifting the I from the Anatma bodies to the higher I, Atma I, is to be the Sakshi Trik. And that is who the Jnani identifies himself with, instead of the Ahankara. So the karmas, there is no bondage by the karmas, if one has the awareness of this Atma. And this is the ultimate freedom. So a Jnani will happily engage in action. Whereas the worldly minded will engage in action for happiness. So there is a difference. So the one who has the vision, Sarvatma Bhava, will happily do things for others. Loka Sangraham will go on. Sharira Yatra has to anyway go on. But there is no agitation, turbulence inside. Because the Kartritvam has been given. Oh, that's the Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturtho Dhyayaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.